Hello students, welcome to Sri Vardhaman Vidyalaya online education. Today we will see the part 6 of a chapter 2 is matter around us pure. So in this part we will study about the separation of a mixture by the method to obtain the crystals of pure copper sulfate salt from an impure sample by crystallization method. Materials required: impure sample of copper sulfate beaker, china dish, glass rod. Procedure: take about 5 grams of impure sample of copper sulfate in a china dish. Dissolve it in minimum amount of water. Filter the copper paper solutions to remove the insoluble impurities. Heat the copper sulfate solution gently on the water bath until it becomes saturated and reach its crystallization point. So crystallization point can be checked by taking some solution on glass rod and waving it in the air. When a solid film, that is small crystal, is formed on a glass rod, then further heating is stopped. This indicates that the solution has been concentrated to the crystallization point. So in this one, that is, we are taking a few sample of copper sulfate in a china dish and add only small amount of the water and filter the copper sulfate solution to remove the insoluble impurities. Then heat that copper sulfate solution gently on the water bath until it becomes saturated. So saturated means that is you have to add the copper sulfate. It will be that water vapor will be evaporate. So it will reaches the crystallization point. Okay, so place the china dish on the table after covering it with a watch glass. So you have to place that china dish after for become a crystallization when it reaches a crystallization point. So and it will be kept for undisturbed at the room temperature. What happens? The water that will be present, it will be slowly evaporated and it will be cool slowly for a day. So what you can see in a crystallization of a copper sulfate. So let it undisturbed at the room temperature to cool slowly for a day and observe thereafter. So observation: the crystal of copper sulfate can be seen in the china dish along with a mother liquid. That is, mother liquid is nothing but the residual liquid which is left after the crystallization. So hot and concentrated solutions of a pure substance forms crystals on cooling gradually. Result: the pure crystals of copper sulfate are separated from the mother liquid. These crystals are dry further between the folds of filter paper or on a porous plate. Now this is a diagram for the filtration method, crystallization method. So in this one you can see that this is a water bath. Water bath is nothing but we are taking a beaker inside the water and that will be, we are not heating directly, just like we are making a dokla. What you can do, we will put in a water inside an um, beaker means vessel, and then we will put that dokra khiru inside that one and then we will boil. So same thing here, the water bath means like this. So here it is a boiling water and the stream of the water will heat this one copper sulfate solution. Okay, so you'll get a copper sulfate crystal like this. The crystallization method is used to purify solid. For example, the salt we get from sea water can have many impurities in it. To remove this impurity, the process of crystallization is used. So crystallization is a process that separates a pure solid in the form of its crystal from a solution. Crystallization technique is better than the simple evaporation technique, as some solid decomposed or some like sugar may get charred on heating to dryness. Charred means it will become a black color when we heat a sugar more time. Next, some impurities may remain dissolved in the solution even after the filtration. On evaporations, this contaminated the solid. Next, application: the purification of an salt that we get from the seawater. Next, the separation of crystals of alum. Alum is nothing but it is one type of salt it will be made up of an aluminium or an magnesium. So that is an we will say an phatakri from an impure sample. So this is an a picture of an phatakri that it will be used for an purification of an water. Next method, how can we obtain different gas from air? You know that is an air is an homogeneous mixtures, and it will be having so many mixture of an gas, so that can be separated into component by the fractional distillation. We have seen the what is fractional distillation in a previous chapter. So this is a diagram of a fractional distillation. So using a fractional distillations, we can separate the air. This is a flow diagram to show the step of the process. First one, the air. So the air will be compressed and cooled by increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. So first first step is that the first air will be compressed. Then it will be cooled by an increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. Then what happens? The air will become a liquid air. Compressed means it will be changed the state into liquid air and allowed to warm up slowly in the fractional distillation column. So here we are using a fractional distillation column. So in this column, the air is allowed to warm up slowly. The gas gets separated at the different height. So in an addition fractional distillation column, what happens? The air will be separated at a different height. So some of an air like oxygen, argon and nitrogen. So the boiling point of an air is minus 183 degrees Celsius for oxygen. For argon is minus 186 degrees Celsius and for nitrogen 196 degrees Celsius. The percentage of air by the volume, how many percentage will get from that? Oxygen is 20.1 and argon is 0.9 and nitrogen is 78.1 percentage. We can separate from this method. If we want an oxygen gas from the air, we have to separate out all the other gas present in the air. So the air is compressed by increasing the pressure and then it cooled by decreasing the temperature to get a liquid air. Then this liquid air is allowed to warm up slowly in the fractional distillation column, where the gas gets separated at the different height depending upon their boiling point. So this is a column. Here this is a filter, that is air will be enter in this way, and here what happens? The air under the pressure. So under the pressure and then it will be high, increasing the high pressure and decreasing the temperature. What happens? The air will become a liquid air. Then this liquid air will be entered, that it will be heated, that is warmed. So it is a hot air that it will be goes in this one, and here there is a water inlet freezing, that it will be goes and out. So it will be goes, that is, and it will be cooled compressed air will become in a separator. So here what happens? The carbon dioxide gas as a dry as it will be separated out. So you know what is a dry as? Dry as is nothing but it is on a solid carbon dioxide. Now from this only the carbon dioxide gas will be separated. Now it will become under an expansion jet. In expansion jet it will become a liquid air, and this is a fractional distillation column. So in fractional distillation column the nitrogen and argon will come out, and next in a last the liquid hydrogen will be, so the liquid oxygen will be separated. So like this we can separate the air using a fractional distillation column. Next, the purification of surface water. So surface water means so you know that is in our home. So हमारे घर पे जो पानी आता है तो कैसे आता है? It will be in a not in a pure. So we want to pure that water. So what will be the process of the purification of that water? So this is the purifications of surface water can be done through the following step: sedimentation, loading, filtration, chlorination. So these are the 4 steps for the purification of a surface water. First one is sedimentation. The river water is pumped into the series of a sedimentation tank where it is allowed to stay for a day. Here, the heavy particles of a clay and other impurities settle down at the bottom due to the effect of gravity. So in sedimentation process, that is, and you have already studied in the lower class, that is the heavier particles and other impurities will be settled down. So it will be kept for so many days. So what happens? The impurities and the stones that will be comes down. It will be settled down at the bottom due to the gravitational. Then the supernature water is then sent to the another settling tank, that is an loading. In the next chamber, the water is treated with a chemical, that is alum and lime, to get further settling of impurities. So we have seen what is alum, that is a photocry. So next chamber it will be having treated with the chemical like alum and lime, so to get a settling of another impurities. Next, filtration. The clean water from the second tank is pumped into the filtration tank, where the sand, gravels, filter completely removed the suspended particles. So in filtration, so many sands, gravel particles, they will be completely removed in this process. Then last one is a chlorination. The clean water is chlorinated with a calculated amount of chlorine in the chlorination tank. This process kills the harmful bacteria and germs and provide the safe drinking water. So these are the four process. It will be used for the purification of surface water. So this is water purification systems in the water works. How it will? So this is a reservoir. So from a reservoir it will be goes to the sedimentation tank. So in sedimentation it will allow the solid to settle. Then it will be goes to the loading tank. So in loading, what happens? It will be suspended particles will be treated with the chemicals. So what happens? Suspended particles will be and other impurities will be removed. Next, it is a filtration tank. So using a gravel and coarse, what happens? The water will be filtered and it will be sent to the chlorinations to kill the bacteria, and then it will be comes to our home for a safe drinking water. Next, physical and chemical change. To understand the difference between a pure substance and mixtures, let us understand the difference between a physical and chemical change. In the previous chapter, we have learnt about a few physical properties of matter. The properties that can be observed and specified like color, hardness, rigidity, fluidity, density, melting point, boiling point, etc. are the physical property. The interconversion of state is the physical change, because this change occur without change in composition and no change in chemical nature of the substance. Although ice, water and water vapor all look different and displays different physical property, they are chemically the same. Both water and cooking oil are liquid, but their chemical characteristics are different. They differ in odor and inflammability. We know that the oil burns in air where water extinguishes the fire. So it is this chemical properties of oil that it makes it different from water. Burning is a chemical change. During this process, one substance reacts with another to undergo a chemical change in a chemical composition. So the chemical change brings a change in the chemical properties of matter, and we will get a new substance. So a chemical change is also called as a chemical reactions. So what is physical change? It is a change in the form of matter, but not in chemical composition. Characteristic: no new substance is formed. The component can be separated by the physical method. Components retain their property. For example, melting of wax, evaporation of water, mixing of sulfur and iron filling, etc. So this can be easily separated, and after separating they will have their own properties same as that of their original. What is chemical change? Chemical change, it is a change in which one or more kinds of matters are converted into new kind of matter. Characteristic: new substance is formed. Component of a new substance can be separated by the physical method, but cannot be separated by the physical method, but can be separated by the chemical method. So the properties of new substance is different from its component. Example: the rusting of iron, the burning of magnesium ribbon in air, etc. So these are the example of a chemical change. Difference between the physical change and chemical change. In physical change, no new substance is formed. Chemical change, new substance is formed. Mass does not change, mass change. Energy is neither absorbed or nor released. The energy is absorbed or released. Reversible in nature and irreversible in nature. For example, glowing of bulb, sublimation of camphor, magnetizing iron. These are the example of a physical change. For chemical change, the rusting of iron, burning of magnesiums, reacting metal with acid, these are the example of a chemical change. On the basis of their chemical composition, substance can be classified either as an elements or compounds. Elements. The Robert Boyle was the first scientist to use the term elements in 1661. So this is the picture of Robert Brown. So he was a man of science and man of God. The Antony Laurent Lavoisier in 1743 to 94. So this is the photo of an Antonio Lavoisier. A French chemist was the first to establish an experimentally useful definition of an elements. He defined an elements as a basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into simple substance by chemical reactions. An atom is the smallest particles that may or may not exist independently. These atoms units together and form an elements. So these elements can exist independently, but it cannot be broken into atom as they are not visible. So about 118 elements are known so far, and still many discoveries are in a pipeline. So here atom, you know the atom. So atom is in a very smallest particles, so that we be exists independently. So when we atoms will be united together, they will form an element, just like a bricks. So brick is a basic one. So from when two or more bricks combines, means so many bricks will be joined, they will form a wall. So when a combining of a wall, what happens, they will form a house. So like this, the atom is a most important, that is it is a simplest particle. So the elements can be prepared artificially in the lab and also by the transmutation process. The elements having the atomic number more than 92 are in a man-made and are called as a transference element. So the elements which will be more than atomic number will be 92. So what is the atomic number that will be seen in a chapter 3? That is, atomic number is nothing but it is the number of electrons or the number of protons. So if the number of electrons and protons, that is on a 92, so that they are up to a 92, that is from we know that is an elements there are an 118, so up to 92 elements, so they are in a transference element. So the element is defined as a substance that cannot be broken into simple substance as it is formed of atoms, and atoms cannot be seen. Next, the characteristic of elements. The physical and chemical properties of the elements are due to the arrangement of atom. They can occur in nature in free or in combined form. They can be prepared artificially by the nuclear reactions. They are made up of atoms. So the elements can be classified into solid, liquid, gaseous. So in liquid only the 3 are in liquids, and gaseous there are the 11 elements, they are in gaseous state at the room temperature. Now the elements can be normally divided into metal, non-metals and metalloids. So hope you all are understood this part 6 now. So the classifications of metal, non-metals and metalloids and the properties and their physical properties and chemical properties we will discuss in the next part of this video. Thank you. We will meet in the next session of this chapter.